If you are in a relationship with an alcoholic or some other type of addict in recovery, you might be afraid of them going back to their old ways. When can you trust that they're not going to use again? When can you trust that they're not going to hurt you again? Those are questions my clients ask me quite often. And I want to give you 3 important points to think about when it comes to this situation. Number 1, don't just focus on time. Right? Time is important, but have they been clean for 30 days? Have they been clean for over a year? Right? There's lots of examples of people who are 10 years, 15 years in recovery, and they still go back to using. They still fall into that temptation. So time can't be your only focus. Instead, number 2, focus more on their behaviors rather than their words. A lot of times when someone is really close to going back to their use, they'll tell you everything's okay. They'll tell you that you can trust them, but they're really not okay. They're about to go back to their old ways. We want to focus on their behaviors instead. Basically, are they doing the things that they were doing before that helped them get clean in the first place? Are they taking care of themselves? Are they maintaining these positive changes? 2 factors that are very common right before somebody goes back to their addiction is 1, they start going back to their old behaviors, right? They start going back to their old environments, maybe their old friends. They start doing some of the behaviors and the unhealthy things that they were doing before. Basically, they're not taking care of themselves physically, emotionally, spiritually. They start to let those things slide. And the other thing is they start to isolate, right? They become more secretive. They communicate less, right? Those are behavioral signs that something's not right. And that's more of what you want to be looking at than just how much time have they been clean. And the third point I want to make is you need healthy boundaries in your relationship. Right? So healthy boundaries, a simple way of thinking about it is to know what is okay and what is not okay, and to make that very clear in your relationships. What are you going to put up with? What are you not going to put up with? And how are you going to stand up for yourself? How are you going to reinforce those boundaries? Now, when you have healthy boundaries, some really great things happen. First of all, those boundaries help you define what you control and what you don't control, right? You don't control the other person. You don't control if they're not going to use or not, right? That's not your responsibility to make sure they stay clean and sober or stay away from whatever they need to stay away from, right? That's their job. It allows you to focus on you, right? Healthy boundaries, you focus on you. You focus on how you need to be taking care of yourself and what you're going to do to stand up for yourself. The other thing that healthy boundaries do is they provide support, right? Just because someone has changed their behavior, right? They've stopped using, they've stopped doing whatever they were doing, doesn't mean that they're still not struggling. And a lot of times when an addict is in a weak moment, right? If they know that the person that they live with, the person that they love, is not going to tolerate them using again, is not going to tolerate them going back to their old ways, that can actually be very supporting. That can actually be very encouraging, especially when that is a consistent, regular part of the communication, how there's healthy boundaries and that support is there. The last thing I want to say about boundaries that's really important is boundaries help you be at peace, right? They help you be at peace because you don't have to constantly be worried about the other person. You've already established these boundaries. And if that person ever does cross those boundaries in the future, you know what you're going to do. You've already made that clear. So you don't have to be spending all this time, every moment, every day, worrying and worrying, right? You can focus on you and taking care of yourself and not worrying about what this other person's going to do. And I want you to have that peace in your life. If you need more help, if you need more information, subscribe, watch the other videos, also look down in the descriptions for information. Hang in there. Thank you for watching.